guys, so before we get started, first I want to invite you to subscribe, hit that big red button down at the bottom if you haven't just yet. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers, so go ahead and help me out. At the flip, and this is our only current project right now, so it has all of our time and attention. These projects can be pretty extensive when we do them. We don't really just do like a decorative flip, we do a little more intensive flips, I would say. So this project will probably take us every bit of 4 months from acquisition to selling. It's finally starting to look like a house, and so for a long time after demo you just have like the bare bones of a house. I mean, it's a construction zone, but now we have drywall up and then we have texture up. Next comes all of the finishing. So it's been a really long road to get through for now, but we're at the point in the remodel where things are going to start moving very quickly, and it's going to feel like just a few weeks will go by and this thing will be done. So with this house being from like the 1940s, I think it's actually 1942, there were a lot of functionality things that have to happen to bring the house up to 2018 standards, and part of that is adding a ton of new electrical. Kind of one of those things you don't think about, but they didn't have a lot of outlets back then, right? So we have to add a bunch of outlets all over the place. We have to add the can lighting. We have to basically bring all of the functionality back so that it meets the standards and expectations of a buyer in 2018. And so for that reason, it feels like there's a lot of work being done for a long time during one of these flips, but you don't really see it because everything that's being done happens behind the walls. And so it's really fun now to see the house being put back together. You can kind of get an idea of the look and feel of the home, and then as soon as some of the fixtures and the pretty stuff starts happening, it'll really start coming together super fast. Welcome to today's coffee chat. Today we are at Tea Espresso, an awesome coffee and tea bar here in Arcadia, Phoenix, Arizona. This place is so much fun because it is so beautiful, an awesome ambiance, and a really great place to just kind of chill out and work if you're in the area. So we love making our stops here, and their drinks are to die for. But today I have my usual cold brew because it's like 110 degrees out and I need something crisp and refreshing. So today I wanted to talk about a really simple 3-step system to determining whether or not you're actually doing the right things in your business. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you've had a really long day, you finally get home, you put your feet up, and then that voice starts talking to you in your mind, and you're like, oh, I didn't get enough done, I could have done this, oh, I spent too much time doing that. A lot of times we get this anxiety feeling like there's never enough time in the day to do all of the things that we have to do. And as real estate agents specifically, this can really hit home because we wear so many hats. Before we ever open a transaction, we have to do marketing and branding work, prospecting, hitting our database, and then all the admin activities that come along with just running a business in general. There is so much to do, and it's really easy to start wondering, did I actually move the needle in my business today, or have I just been spinning my wheels for the last 12 hours? Till about 8 months into our business, we had this awesome conversation with our mentor, and he taught us this super simple 3-step system to taking a really in-depth look at our daily and weekly activities and trying to figure out exactly where the gaps are to where we can easily tweak our activities and our actions and the time spent doing different tasks in order to become more productive and really begin moving that needle in our business. So the big question is here, how do we know exactly whether or not we're getting the right stuff done in our business? The problem is a lot of times during the day we're just blindly running through our time, being very reactive to urgent situations that feel urgent, like an urgent email or putting out a fire for a transaction or responding to phone calls or texts that may or may not really have anything to do with transactions or serious work going on. Being reactive is responding to all those things that feel urgent and feel important, but in the big picture don't really have much to do with moving the needle in your business and getting you closer to those goals. And the worst part about this is most of the time we don't even realize when we're doing it. We don't even realize when we look up and see that we've spent 2 hours digging around in our inbox, not really getting anything done other than responding to other people's urgent messages. On the flip side of this, the other issue that a lot of people have is they're getting a lot of stuff done, but maybe just not the right thing. So you can be super productive and super efficient at getting a lot of work through, but it might not be the effective work. It might not be the work that's hitting your bottom line at the end of the day. And I think that a lot of us can overestimate what we can do in a given day or a given week, but then we underestimate how much we can actually move forward in our business over the span of a year. So what it really boils down to is having perfect clarity on your daily and weekly and monthly tasks, and whether or not your activities are actually in alignment with the tasks that are going to move you closer to your quarterly and yearly goals. So what do? First, we begin with determining your priorities, okay? And I'm going to say here that you should be focusing on 5 priorities during the week, because business feels all-encompassing, and especially when we're real estate agents, that feeling of having to move forward can sink into other areas in our lives. But the thing is, nurturing the other priorities in our lives tend to help us be more productive everywhere else. So we're going to outline 5 priorities that are really important to us, that is going to need a significant amount of our time and attention every day, week, month, year. So what has to happen for you each week to feel like you've made a dent in your business and also have nurtured the other areas of your life? These 5 priorities might be any variation of or any combination of the following. Love and intimacy, maybe that's your marriage, relationships, friendships even. Your business or career, of course. Your health and fitness, spirituality, maybe your religion, your education and personal growth. And then of course you have travel, leisure or fun time, and then any additional hobbies. Like for instance, I have a friend who loves hunting and always makes time every year at certain times of the month even to go out scouting, hunting, whatever it is. So figure out what those 5 big priorities are for you. Now, just a quick note, that business and career situation tends to take up a more significant amount of our time than any other priority, but we'll get to that in a second. But for now, we're going to consider that one priority, even though we know that there are a lot of sub-priorities underneath that. So once you've determined your 5 big priorities, you'll want to prioritize them in order of importance from 1 to 5. So for me, personally, my priorities look like this. Marriage is always first. My relationship with Bryce takes precedence over everything. Health and fitness comes second, because if I'm not taking care of myself, I become absolutely useless. Our businesses come third. And then we have educational and personal growth, which is very important to me. And number 5 for us is travel and leisure. We love spending time together, having fun, and traveling to different areas, seeing what the world has to offer. Now, these priorities for me change from time to time. As our life goes on and things change, it's really important to reevaluate these 5 priorities and adjust as necessary. Sometimes business might move above health or fitness. Sometimes we have to take a break and things have to adjust so that we can fit in some time to travel and reconnect. So it's really important to circle back to this process maybe every month, even every quarter, depending on what life looks like for you, so that you are constantly keeping things in focus and keeping things very clear on where you need to be spending your time. So now comes the part of figuring out how in alignment you are with these 5 priorities. And this is a super simple exercise, but it might feel a little daunting at first, but stick with me here. It has been a super helpful activity that we really like to incorporate, honestly, maybe every other month to every quarter. This is a really good thing to just kind of take a pulse of your business and your activities to see how productive we're actually being. So this task is super simple. So for 1 week, or even 2 if you can handle it, you will track your activities every 30 minutes of the day. And now this might sound kind of crazy, but you will be doing one activity maybe for an hour or 2 hours, maybe you have a longer appointment. Regardless, break down your time into 30 minutes each day and track what you're doing for each 30-minute segment. To make it super simple for you, I have a really quick, easy, downloadable template that you can print off, carry with you, or just keep it on your computer in order to fill out as you go during the day. But for 1 week at least, commit to accounting for your time, identifying your activities for every 30 minutes every single day. Okay, so once you've spent 7 days tracking your time and accounting for every 30-minute increment during your days, you'll start to see some patterns emerge. This is where you want to really analyze that data and see exactly where you're spending your time and where you can start tweaking. So as you're going through, and you might notice some holes where your priorities aren't really getting the attention they deserve. Maybe you notice that it's been a whole week and you haven't spent any time with your significant other to reconnect. Maybe you went a whole week without getting any gym time in, and you knew that you had a goal to at least work out 3 times this week. So you want to start looking at your time like that and seeing where you're missing the mark, and then you also want to see where you're really hitting it. And that's where you need to give yourself a little pat on the back. If you're dedicating 2 hours of prospecting time every single workday, or you got 10 hours of open houses in, whatever it may be, that's where you need to see what's really working. So whatever is working, you're going to keep there. If you know that you can stick to prospecting for 2 hours in the morning before lunch, that time you need to keep and stick to going forward, because that's really good, productive, effective work for moving the needle in your business. If you see that you spent 2 lunches that went way over time that you had allotted, you spent way too much time just chatting with friends, and maybe you missed some other important tasks that you would have liked to have gotten done that day, that's spaces where you can tweak a little. Maybe you put a 90-minute cap on appointments going forward for lunches or networking. Maybe you remove some networking events altogether. One thing that I found after doing this activity was we were spending a lot of time in industry events. And it's very easy to do in this industry because it's a very social, networking-based industry. But we kind of determined after some time that the time that we were spending at happy hours or seminars, whatever it may be, they weren't truly serving us at that time, so we dialed way back on the amount of times we were going to networking events during the week, and then put more hours into prospecting or open houses. So those are where you can really start to see those trends, figure out what's giving you the best return on your time, and then adjust from there. Sticking to this process and committing to returning to this process maybe once a month, maybe even every 2 weeks for the next quarter, you can really get very, very clear on where your time is being best spent and where you're being the most effective. And then that really gives you a more sense of peace and clarity on exactly what you need to be doing to move that needle in your business. I'm telling you, there's no anxiety like the anxiety that I feel when I feel like my wheels are just spinning and I'm not getting anywhere in my business. And so having the peace of mind after analyzing all this data and seeing exactly where my time is being best spent has such an amazing impact, not only on my own peace of mind, but on my bottom line to my business. So again, go ahead, there are links down below to the blog post where you can find that downloadable little cheat sheet and the whole checklist on this activity. I promise you it is super simple, super manageable, and it's not going to set you back too much time. It will have major returns for your business. And if you want to take your education further with me, I invite you to check out my online business course for real estate agents called The Real Estate Method. The link is down below. You can enroll anytime, and it is fully at your own pace coaching. We'd love to have you, so please check it out. And as always, you can connect with us on our socials. We're on Instagram and Facebook. We hope to hear from you soon for a very special edition, because I may or may not be filming from a very exotic locale. Can't wait to see you there.